Hey guys, welcome to another Six Sages Gaming video. Today we're bringing you a match from Ziege Games, and this is going to be a recorded match between two locals that I'm adding some commentary over. The camera angle is not the best on their hand, so I'll do my best as we're going through this. We have Michael on the left, who's going to be playing the Golbez deck. He is playing the no backup version. He did post his list in the Final Fantasy TCG US group, so you can check it out there. And on the right, we have Matt, who is playing a version of the Tidus Combo deck. So that is a deck that ended up finishing second. Not that exact list, but it's what we played. And, you know, it's just one of my favorite lists out there from Opus 1. So starting off with Red 13, 5,000 has first strike. Discarding land is an interesting choice, especially when you don't know what your opponent's going to be playing. Now, they're very close friends, so they knew kind of sitting down probably exactly what their 50-card lists were. But land is a really strong card to have, and one that I'd maybe want to hold on to a little bit longer. Being able to attack as a 7K and not worry about some of their blockers can certainly be beneficial. Now, he doesn't have any kind of battle tricks or pumps that he can use to make sure land gets either survives combat or has other tricks, but right here land absolutely would have been a great play to have. A little hard to see his hand. We got the 2-drop, 5,000 out of lightning, usually Regata I believe is his name. So paying 4, playing a Gilgamesh here, absolutely a wonderful card, as you guys know. Strongest Sword Gilgamesh. In this deck there's only 3 cards that don't trigger for his effect. So when you think about it, it's an 8k Brave for 4, which is okay stats, but you only have to discard a Gilgamesh to activate its effect. And the best thing that you can do is with combat, you can declare your attacker, and then before blockers happen, you can use the strongest sword effect to clear their way. So he's staring down to Waka right now, but Matt knows pretty well that Michael has 8 more Gilgamesh in his deck. So there's a very good chance that he's going to be having a Gilgamesh in these next couple turns. So that Waka is going to be sitting in a very, very bad spot here in a couple turns. And playing against it, I learned very quickly that you very often don't want to be putting your best cards out there to begin with. You kind of want to survive. Matt discarding 2 cards here to pay for Minwu was just not a good start. We can't see Matt's hand, but it is certainly in a very painful position where he's having to discard for Minwu. Looks like a brother and a Riku maybe that was discarded for it. And right here we're seeing where the strongest sword Gilgamesh can absolutely punish your opponent. Michael started off strong with that Gilgamesh that's going to be getting the damage through, 2 points of damage. Matt loses his Waka and now is really starting to feel the pressure. Again, Red 13 might have not been the most aggressive card that you can start with, but being able to get 2 points of damage here is absolutely critical. And again, Matt being stuck on the right with only 1 backup, his hand is clearly not the best. A lot of this seems like a not having an optimal draw, which can really hurt when you're staring down a Gilgamesh. One of the weakest things, or probably one of the biggest issues with Wind Water, you have plenty of answers to Golbez. You can play Leviathan to bounce it, to stall him out. You can play a couple different other cards, activate your characters, get some battle tricks. There's a lot of other things you can do. Heroic Yuna is absolutely a great counter to Golbez, but guess what? You can't beat Strongest Sword Gilgamesh reliably. One of the best things you can be doing is using Waka's status reel and getting rid of him that way, but that also hurts. And again, here we see Strongest Sword Gilgamesh putting in the damage. A small misplay by Matt. Bartz does say activate characters you control when he comes into play, so his wind backup should have been active as well. I'm not sure that it matters with so few cards in his hand, but note whenever something says characters, it does mean both forwards and backups you control. Same spot again here, emptying his hand, playing his Tidus. Probably not going to be enough to get him back into the game. You know, without a hand or any way to protect Tidus or have some kind of Blitz Ace interaction that's going to happen. Sure, Michael has already used 2 of his strongest sword activations, but you can see here 3 in a row. And I'm going to be honest, folks, not a lot is going to be that kind of an opener from the Gilgamesh deck, and that just goes to show you how strong it can be. You know, at this point, if he draws an Odin, chances are Matt's just dead, and he's in a very bad spot. And that just goes to show you strongest sword Gilgamesh in the right deck can absolutely run away with the game. If you have kind of Odin or some other effect, you know, that can help too. Michael playing here the Golbez just as kind of a, it's certainly an overkill, but something that's not bad to play just in case he has like a Leviathan or something, or you know, a 9k because he has Minwu, so he can block both Gilgamesh and Red 13. Golbez could trade with his 9k and then make sure the other 2 points of damage are live. But another Bart's there would have been pretty good for Matt to maybe last a couple more turns, but absolutely not enough to stick in there. So we were going to do a best of 1. Now we're going to be going into game 2. We did record a series of 3 different games for you guys, just because I know best of 1 is not liked by many, but that is the official tournament rules for now. So Matt and Michael, or Moose, I should call him by his name on his playmat. We can see on the left there. They decided to play a couple extra games for us. They were nice enough to volunteer. So Matt having a little bit better of a start here. Looks like he has an archer, so being able to play those backups on turn 1 is absolutely critical. You know, whenever you're building a deck, I generally recommend a minimum of 6 2-drop backups. Unless you're playing, of course, the Golbez deck, which has no backups, you always want to start with at least 1 2-drop backup on your first turn. And in some decks, like we saw the Brave Control deck out of France, it was running 22 backups, if I do recall correctly. So you want to just put as many 2-drops backups in the field as you can, because it makes the rest of your draws through the rest of the game smoother. So again, we have here Michael that's starting with just an absolutely devastating choice. I'm not sure that I would have broke Golbez right away. The advantage here is that he's going to make his field wide, but what we don't know is if Matt is running Cloud of Darkness or not. In this case, because only one of them has haste, I didn't miss what he grabbed. I think he grabbed Seraphy for wind instead of an Onion Knight. Tifa gets in a point of damage, but if he has a Cloud of Darkness, he's going to lose. Okay, there is an Onion Knight in there, so he's going to get 2 points of damage in. So that makes it a little bit better, and it forces your opponent to have an answer in the next turn. What I really do like about the Golbez deck in this situation is if he top decks a Gapal, of course he has to wait 2 turns to do it because you only draw 2 cards a turn. But this is absolutely presenting lethal in 2 turns if he has a Gapal in either his next draw or the one following. Boosting them all by 4k is an absurdly good card that can push through the damage when you need to. Matt here has an Aerith backup, gets to activate his Archer. I love Aerith because it lets you protect your forwards as well as lets you accelerate. Normally you want to be playing Aerith once you have 2 or 3 backups, so you can really get more value out of it. He went to grab a card. This is a mistake. He doesn't have any value. They were playing a casual game, so he's going to take it back. Moose here pointed out that he doesn't actually get anything out of playing the Pain, and that's absolutely a card that you want to save until you're doing something more with it. So here instead he just discarded the Pain, discarded what looks like a fairy to put Tidus in the field. Now, right here, if you would have had Minwu, or he's 1 card short, but if you had Minwu and another card that could just freely chump block some of these guys, he would have been fine. But ultimately, it looks like he's going to be taking a lot of damage here. Chooses to block the first one. Maybe thinking about Seds, knowing that he can't block anymore. Losing Light Cloud off the top absolutely hurts. Zidane gets through a free point. Of note here, Zidane always should be your last attacker. If you're playing out your turn, he definitely should have attacked with Delita first. He's not going to be able to bounce or block Delita favorably, and so that damage is going to go through anyways. And Zidane can't be hurt by any EX burst effects. So as you're planning out your turns and you're trying to think about who you want to sacrifice off or who you're willing to trade away, if you will, like if you're to attack with Tifa, he would kill Tidus but lose Tifa. It helps make the game go a little bit smoother in your direction with gaining that guaranteed last point of damage in. So in this situation, Matt should have been at 5 points of damage, but the better lucky than good Leviathan off the top bounced that Delita. And of course, Moose doesn't want to replay it because he had to break one of his own guys. Instead, can play Seraphy, get Golbez back here, and now is setting up his turn saying, all right, I got a card back, so Seraphy costed me nothing. And I'm setting up for an Odin draw. If I hit Odin, I have Golbez to discard and obviously can kill Tidus, then get through the last points of damage. We get a card back for Gapal, which can be an absolutely absurd top deck here. And again, this right here goes to show why the Wind Water decks need to run Cloud of Darkness. When we're playing best of one games, you have to be able to have answers for these types of decks. And outside of another Golbez deck, which is, you know, making a meta call for Cloud of Darkness or some other cards, Wind Water is really lacking the tools necessary to interact with this kind of a field. Hopefully, you know, getting Cloud of Darkness would be great. And again, here we see, Kate Sith just absolutely crushing the game. And, you know, with however many EX bursts are in the game, there's just not enough to stop this. He has plenty of attackers to get through, and once again, Zidane is going to get through that last point of damage. Bart's there, only activating wind characters, so it doesn't get to activate Tidus. If he had Aerith here to discard Planet Protector to make it active, because he does have Minwu now in play, it looks like he would be able to block a few of them, but it looked like, I think he had two of the same element, so he could have party attacked and got rid of Tidus that way, if I'm not mistaken. But ultimately there, again, Kate Sith was a live draw. He could have hit 4-cost Odin. He could have hit Kapal. The Golbez deck is really great at being able to not only pressure your opponent with a 9K, but then once it breaks, you have all these extra attackers. Now, I will say that I really do like the backup version better, because then you get to metagame against the other Golbez decks by being able to play heroic 5-drop Yuna, which can exile your opponent's Golbez. You can play Cloud of Darkness more readily to wipe the board, and you have a lot more answers in Earth as well. And a lot of people have been playing some number of Shant Toto as well, which, as you know, removes all characters from the game. And what's great about that is it doesn't trigger Golbez's effect. So it's Shant Toto is absolutely one of the best cards you could ask for in terms of combating this deck, because it does reset the board, where Cloud of Darkness, they're just going to keep their best card anyways, which in most situations will either be a Zidane if you're at a high damage total and only have 4 drops in field, or even they can just keep a Delita, which is a perfectly fine 9K attacker that can pressure your opponent. Matt going to be on the play here again because he lost, and again we're seeing here just a not optimal hand. Starting with the Tidus, especially in that deck, is not going to be one of the best places you can start, and also not playing any backups on his first turn. So we're going to see Moose discarding 4 here, playing a kill. Oh man, that is rough. Playing another Strongest Sword and discarding a Zidane for another Zidane. The advantage here is that he can attack first with Gilgamesh, break the Tidus, swing through for some points of damage, and at best, Matt is going to have, say, a Leviathan. I'm not sure if he plays the 5-cost heroic Yuna or not, and Zidane is still going to get through for a point of damage. Again, here he looks like he has an Archer in hand, a Leviathan. He definitely needs to get some backups in play. And again, the thing with Golbez, it's very much an all-in deck, and it has the ability to absolutely over swarm your opponent, over pressure your opponent. But if you can get to the late game where you can start playing that fair game and you have multiple backups in play, the Golbez deck really lacks a way to interact with the advantage that you gain by not having to discard cards. So when you get to keep your cards in your hand, you get to have as many options as possible. It helps you win that game. Now he plays an Archer here and just passes. Tidus just not being able to do anything with this board. Say it's only a 7K without having any other forwards. Moose, of course, here has the answer. It's still gonna break his Tidus, but he's not gonna get that attack in. So Tidus can go back to hand. I'm sorry, Tidus is discarded. Gilgamesh goes back to hand, and again here, Zidane is just able to attack for points of damage. Small mistake there that he had mentioned. So he caught it. He's saying, I'm gonna attack first, then play the Gilgamesh without because when you're in combat, you of course can't play another forward, so you have to go to your main phase too. Matt here just seems to be sitting on 2 cards. It looks like just an Archer for a backup. So at best, he's playing a 3-drop. You know, if he had a Geomancer or something and a discard, it'd be great. But just passing here is absolutely brutal for Matt. And again, probably could have got his full list. It would have been nice, but Gilgamesh is going to get in for a point of damage, followed by Zidane. Again, can't be triggered by any effects, so no matter what he hits here isn't relevant. Of course, bouncing Gilgamesh, forcing your opponent to discard 2 more cards to replay it can certainly help the tempo, but Matt is certainly very far behind at this point and needs to get some more things going. Huge is a nice card here. It's a 7K that can block Zidane favorably, and it helps him filter his hand. So it looks like he drew an Aerith off of that. He has a Pain in Hand as well, which is not doing anything. That he ships that to the bottom. He really needs to get some more forwards on the field or find an answer to that Gilgamesh, because as the game goes on, again, Moose is playing 9 Gilgamesh. He's used 2 so far, so there's still 6 Gilgamesh in the deck. And when you're drawing 2 cards per turn, it's not a good spot to be in for Matt. So he really needs to find some more backups, find a way to stall this game a little bit longer. But I think Gilgamesh is just going to be able to keep getting in there for a couple points of damage. It's going to make it really rough for Matt to catch back up in this game. Interesting here that he chooses to attack with Zidane. Maybe he just forgot that Huge is only a 3, so he can block it. Makes a sacrifice there that he didn't have to. Looks like a Brother off the top, and couldn't see the other card. Playing Aerith here only lets him recover 1 backup. Can't see what the last card in his hand is. But again, Matt really needs to find an answer to that Gilgamesh, Leviathan, Heroic Yuna. There's a number of good things he could draw to at least survive a turn. He's going to play Brother here, lets him search his deck for a Final Fantasy X forward. And that does work with Tidus because he's both Dissidia and Final Fantasy X. So that's a very important ruling to make sure you're aware of going forward. Getting the Tidus here isn't going to be doing a lot for him. It can make him an 8K, but he really needs to play a Tidus and then play another forward so he can bump it to 9K and be able to block that Gilgamesh. But it's looking like Matt's only going to have a few more turns here and needs to find some answers really quick. Plays a Tifa, pays 2, has the Odin in hand, absolutely rough. Matt's probably not going to have anything here. Doesn't have Aerith in field, so he has no kind of instant speed protection. Moose is going to attack with Tifa first, and then it's going to attack with Gilgamesh, putting Matt to a total of 6 damage. And again, this is a situation where there's just not a lot of different things that you can come back from. So it looks like we're going to be in a very painful situation here unless Matt can find a critical answer when he needs it. Again, I do apologize for the camera angle that we had for these videos. We were trying to record at Ziege Games, and we recorded all the matches from the tournament and then found out the top-down angle doesn't work due to the glare that it was creating. Plays a Tidus here, unless that last card in his hand is something. Nope, it looks like just a pass, and it looks like this is going to be the end of this game because Gilgamesh can just attack, and that's going to be... And it has the other Odin, so Moose is not going to let him have anything, and it looks like that's a wrap. So thank you very much for watching, guys, and we'll catch you on the next 6 Stages Gaming video.